Good morning, guys. Today we're going to work in our composition books, and I'm going to walk you guys through compound subjects and predicates over the next couple of days. Today we're going to start with compound subjects. So you are going to need to gather some supplies. You're going to need some scissors, your glue stick. I have a bottle of glue because I'm at home and that's the only thing that I can find. A red and a blue pen, which your substitute should be supplying you with. You will also probably need a red and blue crayon, which I have misplaced already. And your paper that the sub will give you as well. So pause this video while you go and find all of those supplies. Okay, here's what we're going to be working on. Today, we're going to be doing the left-hand side of the page. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the right-hand side of the page. So when you go to glue down today, please make sure that you have turned your book sideways and make sure that you have glued down over far enough to where you leave room for this one for tomorrow, okay? Here's the page that your sub should be giving you today. Make sure that it says compound subjects and not compound predicates. Today we're working with subjects only, okay? All right, let me show you the pieces that you're going to be cutting out today. Just like normal, you want to make sure you leave the tab attached. You're going to need to cut out the title, compound subjects and predicates. You're going to need to cut out the example sentence, Tori reads nightly. And then we have some boxes, and all of your boxes need to make sure they have the tab still attached because we're going to be making a lift the flap activity like we've been doing usually. You're going to have 4 of these. So they're each a different size. Make sure that you get all 4. Make sure that you leave the tab attached to them. Okay, I'm gonna let you pause the video now to find your scissors and cut that out. Once you have that cut out, you're gonna take your red crayon today, and we're gonna mark around each one of these areas with red. We're going to do a little bit of color coding today. All of these need to have a red box. All right, one more. Okay. So now that all of those are outlined in red, now it's time to glue down. I'm going to find my notebook over here, and I'm going to go to the next blank page, and I'm going to turn it long ways or sideways so that there we go. All right, first we're going to glue down our title at the top of the page. So you probably have a glue stick handy. I hope so. Well, I haven't used glue at my house in so long, so even this glue doesn't want to work today. This is going to go at the top. Compound subjects and compound predicates. Underneath that, we're going to be gluing down the example sentence we're going to be working with. Tori reads nightly. If you need more time, all you have to do is pause your video. All right, so if Tori reads nightly is our example sentence, first thing we're going to ask ourselves is who is this sentence about? Who or what? Tori is who it's about, so Tori is our subject. We're going to underline Tori in red. When I find red that works. So if you have your red pen, underline Tori. What does Tori do? She reads nightly, right? So grab your blue pen and we're going to underline reads nightly because that's what Tori does. Now, just like we do on DWR, Tori is our subject. That means I cannot narrow Tori down anymore. There is only one person, one word in my subject. So I'm going to put a rectangle around Tori because that's my simple subject. By the way, I hope you guys are copying what I'm doing. Now, if I had to narrow down the predicate to one main word, what is it that Tori does? Does she read or does she nightly? Nightly doesn't give us an action, does it? It tells us when she does it. So reads is going to be our simple predicate. All right, we're ready to talk about compound subjects. Remember when we talked about fanboys last week? You guys did a page in your book that looked like this with all the fanboys on it, and then you put the definitions underneath. Well, we're going to be using those today. So I want you to look at all your blocks, find the biggest one, and we're going to glue it down on the bottom. You're only going to put glue along the flap. If you need to pause the video, that's fine. Go ahead and pause. So only put glue on the flap part because we're going to be lifting this up. And your biggest one goes on the bottom. Okay, now you're going to find the next biggest one. We're going to glue that on top. It's going to look like this. But once again, you can only put glue on the tab. If you want to put glue on the front of this tab, that works too. So we're going to make a layer here. 1, 2, 3. The next biggest one. And then the smallest one goes on top. So now you have lift the flap. You have lift the 1, 2, 3, 4 flaps. Mine probably needs a little time to dry since I used wet glue. All right, a compound subject. Let's write a definition. All right, are you ready to write? If you need a little more time for gluing this down, just pause your video. A compound subject, you need your red pen, by the way, contains 2 or more simple subjects with the same predicate. Okay, there's our definition. So up here we just have a simple subject. But this says a compound subject contains two or more simple subjects. So if you need more time with writing, all you have to do is pause. Just a reminder. We're going to lift this flap and we're going to do an example. On this next one, it says S plus S plus P. That means subject plus predicate. And so we're going to give Tori a friend. And we're going to write up here, Tori and Jen. Now, I'm not done because it says plus P, so I'm going to grab my blue pen and I'm going to write, sorry, I'm getting text. Tori and Jen, we're going to use our same subject, our predicate up here, read nightly. Now I have to change it to we because, I have to change it to read instead of reads because now I have two people. And it wouldn't make sense if I said Tori and Jen reads nightly. I have to make my verb now, take the S off of my verb because I have Tori and Jen in my subject. Okay, but I have a subject plus a subject, Tori and Jen, plus a predicate, read nightly. So now I have two people that are doing the same action. Does that make sense? That's what a compound subject is. Remember our fanboys? I combined two people together with a fanboy and then added my predicate to the end. What do you think will happen if we add another subject? Subject plus subject plus subject plus predicate. Well, Tori and Jen are about to get a new friend. So let's flip the page. As always, if you need more time, just pause your video. We're going to write with red, Tori. Now I have a list of three people. So when you have a list of three or more things, you have to separate them with commas. Tori, Jen, comma, and Randy. Now that's my subject, subject plus subject plus subject. Tori, Jen, and Randy read nightly. I wrote read nightly in blue because that's my predicate. Tori, Jen, and Randy is my compound subject. Three people in my subject. All right, let's do one more. This one, S plus S plus S plus S. 1, 2, 3, 4 people in my sentence. So I'm going to give Tori, Jen, and Randy another friend. If you need more time on that one, you can just pause your video. I still have to use commas to separate Tori, Jen, comma, Randy, comma, and their friend's name is Brad. I'm going to switch because what do? They read nightly. So now I have Tori, Jen, Randy, and Brad read nightly. I have a compound subject on all of these example pages. I have Tori and Jen, then with three simple subjects, Tori, Jen, and Randy. And then I have Tori, Jen, Randy, and Brad. And I did that by combining more people with fanboys that we learned. And the fanboy that we are using to combine people is and. So that's one way that we can use compound subjects. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about compound predicates.